Democratic activist Tom Steyer had collected over 5.4 million signatures on an online petition to impeach the president. Impeachment, in fact, may be easier than it appears, because while Article 1, Section 3 of the Constitution says, quote, that the President, Vice President, and all civil officers of the United States shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors, close quote, it never actually lays out what constitutes an impeachable offense. As we learned from the Monica Lewinsky scandal in 1998, that's up to Congress to decide. In other words, to be impeached, Donald Trump doesn't have to be accused by Special Counsel Robert Mueller of having actually committed any crime at all. He could be impeached for whatever Congress decides is worth impeaching him for, from actual crimes to dereliction of duty to offensive words and behavior. The definition of impeachable offense, in other words, is wide open. It's ultimately up to Congress to decide what's an impeachable offense and what's not, which is not good news for Donald Trump, especially as his allies abandon the sinking ship. If history is any judge, Congress would certainly consider obstruction of justice as an impeachable offense. That was, in fact, the very first article of impeachment directed against President Richard Nixon, that he had prevented, obstructed, and impeded the administration of justice, and one of two articles set forth by the House of Representatives against President Bill Clinton using that identical phrase. And, as we'll discuss later on, Trump's already admitted to obstruction of justice several times over. Before resigning, Nixon faced the near certainty of impeachment for what Congress deemed having, quote, made false or misleading public statements for the purpose of deceiving the people of the United States, close quote. It would be hard to find any rational American who could not find Donald Trump guilty of the same offense. Indeed, he does it daily, if not hourly. Evidence of how wide open the definition of impeachable offense really is came from none other than former Special Counsel Ken Starr, a hero to most Republicans for his aggressive leadership of the investigation that resulted in the impeachment of President Bill Clinton 2 decades ago. Appearing on ABC's This Week on January 28, 2018, Starr noted the gravity of reports that Trump had actually ordered White House counsel Don McGahn to fire Special Counsel Robert Mueller, even though he denied doing so on several occasions. Quote, "You're now talking about something called lying to the American people," warned Starr, "and I think that is something that Bob Mueller should look at." Close quotes. If not indicted or impeached, Trump could instead be, and he well deserves the dubious honor of becoming, the first president removed from office by procedures laid out in the 25th Amendment. That amendment, added to the Constitution in 1967 to clear up the presidential succession after the Kennedy assassination, declares that the president can be removed and replaced with the vice president if the Veep and a majority of the cabinet believe the president is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office. On August 15, 2017, after Trump made his outrageous comments defending white supremacists who marched in Charlottesville, Virginia, and killed 32-year-old Heather Heyer, California Congresswoman Jackie Speer tweeted, quote, "POTUS is showing signs of erratic behavior and mental instability that place the country in grave danger. Time to invoke the 25th Amendment." Close quote. Or Trump could be forced or shamed into resigning, especially if his top aides or family members are convicted of a crime as a result of the FBI investigation. Offering to resign in exchange for a lighter prison sentence for sons Donald Jr. and Eric, daughter Ivanka, or son-in-law Jared Kushner could strike Trump as a fair deal, especially if he himself is miserable in the job. And some of the above are clearly targets of Mueller's investigation. Or Trump could be removed from office by any combination of the above.